Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going on an incredible journey deep beneath our feet to explore something amazing and a little bit shaky, the new Madrid Seismic Zone. Have you ever wondered what makes the ground tremble and shake? Well, you're in the right place to find out. Imagine the Earth's surface isn't one solid piece, but is instead like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Each puzzle piece is called a tectonic plate. These plates are always moving, but usually very, very slowly, about as fast as your fingernails grow. Most earthquakes happen where these giant puzzle pieces rub against each other. But here's the mystery of New Madrid. If you look at a map of the United States, you'll see that places like California are right on the edge of a tectonic plate. That's why they have a lot of earthquakes. But the new Madrid Seismic Zone is smack dab in the middle of the North American plate, far away from any edges. So, why does it shake so much there? It's like finding a ripple in the middle of a perfectly calm swimming pool. It's a real head-scratcher for scientists. To solve this puzzle, we have to travel back in time, not just 100 years, but hundreds of millions of years. Way back then, the continent we now call North America tried to split apart. It was like a giant piece of bread that started to tear, but didn't rip all the way through. This failed attempt at splitting left a deep, weak scar buried miles under the ground. This scar is called the real foot rift. Think of it like this. If you bend a plastic ruler over and over again in the same spot, it gets weak there, right? Even if it doesn't break, that spot is always going to be the weakest point. The real foot rift is that weak spot in the Earth's crust. It's a hidden zone of ancient, fractured rock. Now fast forward to today. The whole North American plate is still moving, pushing and pulling. All that pressure builds up, and guess where it finds a place to release? You got it. Right along that old weak scar, the real foot rift. When the pressure gets to be too much, the rocks deep underground suddenly slip and break, sending out shock waves that we feel on the surface as an earthquake. That's the secret of the new Madrid Seismic Zone. It's an old wound that still aches from time to time. Now let's talk about a time when this zone really woke up. Back in the winter of 1811 and 1812, long before modern cities were built there, a series of incredibly powerful earthquakes struck this region. There wasn't just one big quake, but thousands of them over several months. Imagine waking up to the ground shaking so violently that huge cracks open up. People who were there said the ground rolled like waves on the ocean. The force of the quakes was so immense that it reportedly caused the mighty Mississippi River to flow backward for a short time. Can you even picture that? A river as big as the Mississippi changing direction. It also created new lakes like Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee. When the land sank and filled with water, the shaking was felt over an enormous area. Church bells were said to have rung as far away as Boston, Massachusetts, and people were woken up from their sleep in Washington, D.C. This is one of the most fascinating things about New Madrid earthquakes. Their vibrations travel much farther than earthquakes out west. Why? Because the rock in the central and eastern U.S. is older, colder, and less fractured. Think of it like hitting a solid metal bell versus a cracked one. The sound, or in this case the shaking, travels through the solid bell much more clearly and for much longer. So, what about today? Is the new Madrid zone still sleeping, or is it just taking a nap? Scientists are watching it very, very closely. They use special instruments called seismometers to listen for even the tiniest rumbles from deep within the Earth. The zone is still active, with hundreds of small earthquakes every year. Most are so small that nobody even feels them, but they tell us that things are still moving down there. The big question everyone asks is, when will the next big one happen? The honest answer is, nobody knows for sure. Predicting earthquakes is something scientists are still working on. It's incredibly difficult. They can look at the past and say that big earthquakes have happened here before and will likely happen again, but they can't give us a specific date and time. Because of this uncertainty, being prepared is super important for everyone living in and around the seismic zone, which includes parts of states like Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Illinois. Being prepared doesn't mean being scared. It means being smart. It means families having an emergency plan. Do you know where to go in your house during an earthquake? The best answer is to drop cover and hold on. Drop to the ground, get under a sturdy table or desk, and hold on until the shaking stops. It also means having an emergency kit with things like water, non-perishable food, a flashlight, and a first aid kit. Engineers and builders in the region are also working hard to make new buildings stronger so they can withstand shaking better. It's all about respecting the power of the Earth and being ready. The new Madrid Seismic Zone is a perfect example of how our planet is a living, breathing, and constantly changing place. It holds mysteries from millions of years ago that still affect us today. It reminds us that even the ground beneath our feet has a story to tell, full of drama, power, and surprising twists. By studying it, we not only learn about geology, but also learn how to live more safely on our dynamic planet. It's a fascinating puzzle that scientists continue to piece together, one tiny tremor at a time. And who knows, maybe one of you watching today will become a geologist and help unlock even more of its secrets. Thanks so much for joining me on this seismic adventure. If you thought this was cool and learned something new, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration. Until next time, stay curious.